Woohoo! Hey, Apartment Therapy.
Welcome to our 720 square foot apartment in Washington Heights.
Come right in.
I'm Sarah.
And I'm Peterson.
And we live here with our 3 children.
We've learned that with a 2-bedroom apartment and 5 of us, we had to get rid of a lot of things that we didn't need. And it teaches you to focus more on the things that you need in the immediate moment or just a necessity.
Making it work, a small space with 5 people, you need to be good at conflict resolution. You have to be okay with getting rid of things. I think you have to be kind of grounded in what truly matters to you.
So this apartment has been in my family for a long time. First, my grandparents lived here. I immigrated here from the Dominican Republic. I lived here with my mom and my dad. And I just remember this room being it was definitely smaller, but I remember it being cramped. I remember there was a wall here. So the living room only took up half of the space that it has now. So opening up the space, our kids now have a big couch that they can jump on. They have this big rug, and they also have this space that they could use. When we took down the wall, there was 2 layers of sheetrock. There was plaster on here in order to chisel down each one of these bricks, and it took me about 12 hours. We had no idea how much work it would take.
Every area and every item wears many hats. So the table is where we play games. It's where we do art with our kids. They do their puzzles. We eat our meals. It's, it has to be so many things. And so it makes sense for it to be accessible.
Yeah, and for it to be part of the whole.
We have many sneaky storage areas in our apartment, and one of them is hidden in plain sight underneath our couch. We have a full-size Christmas tree stand under here. With everything Peterson has built, people often ask us, where does he do the work? Well, this is basically his workshop and up on the roof. We are probably constantly reassessing our organizational needs. We recently just organized our games up here, and so far it's working for us. This is something I'm very proud of, our kids' art station, art corner. I got this organizer from Amazon, put it on top of a cheap Lazy Susan, and so it's become a really easy art center. The kids can grab what they need. The table is right here. I wanted them to be able to create at a moment's notice, and they definitely do that.
And they love to showcase their own art. Like while we're sitting at the table, they're always pointing at it like, hey, this one's mine. And
yeah, it's cool for them to be able to see it.
Yeah.
When you first come in, you are in our entryway. It's kind of small, but we've tried to maximize the space for 5 people coming in and out every day. So this is our entryway storage DIY shoe bench. I wanted something that was mounted on the wall so that it was easy to clean underneath, but also we could slide shoes underneath. As you can see, we can both sit on it. It's super strong and sturdy. Took 2 of these IKEA coat hangers and we stacked them on top of each other, just because I feel like when you live in a small space, you can do a lot to make it feel bigger, whether it's using mirrors or more lights or open space and really going vertical. There's always a balance between function and aesthetics. And I always think of it in terms of like temporary storage and more long-term storage. So for example, we have hooks that fold up so we can pull them open if we want them or not. On the back of the door, we also have hooks on one of the walls in the entryway so that when you come in, you have a place to hang your coat, but it doesn't live there. We also have a closet where then we hang coats once we get a chance to put them away. So interestingly, if there's anything colorful in this apartment, they're all the same colors because I bought paint to do kind of an accent wall in the kids' room back when it was a guest room. And I was just too scared to try new colors, so I just used the same ones and it kept working. Go big or go home kind of thing. This is probably the room that has undergone the most changes over the years. I think of it as the crown jewel of the apartment. It is our kids' room, and it has DIY floating triple bunks.
So it's my biggest project to date. It's 3 levels.
I think when you live in a small space, it's hard for each person to feel like they have something of their own and even some place of their own. But the beds really do that for us. That no one is allowed on this bunk unless The 5-year-old who sleeps here says it's okay. These places being kind of multifaceted, that this is where he sleeps, this is where he plays, it's his special place. It's also where he goes if he needs to take a time out, and that it's okay for those things to have more than one association, because we are resilient, we're flexible, we're humans, and it's kind of the reality of living in a small space.
Our philosophy with most items in the house is that we'll modify it as much as possible to fit our needs. And that's what ended up happening with the pack system. We bought the packs without doors because we wanted to make them custom. One of the reasons that we wanted to make the doors custom is because it was important for the kids to be able to open the doors, and we wanted it to look nice as well.
Peterson built this beautiful shelving unit, and we had board books for our youngest that would just kind of get lost in the whole thing.
Pretty small.
So you came up with this.
So I came up with this very simple little
contraption.
So that helps us keep these smaller books organized. We can either stand them up.
And instead of having like a 2-foot space of tons of books getting lost, not being able to find what you're looking for, we have 3 smaller sections, which works really well for us. So we have all these different storage baskets. We also have storage boxes on top, basically wherever we can fit them in the entire apartment.
We do not rotate these stay basically the same. So whenever they need anything from here, they don't need to keep pulling each one out, trying to figure it out. They live where they live, and the kids know where certain things belong.
Now we're in the kitchen, and pre-renovation, this space was very different. I wanted open kitchen shelves to make the space feel more open, and the shelves are literally just slabs of wood from Home Depot. It's nothing fancy. It's something that anyone can do, anyone can install. The hard part is keeping it organized and looking nice. Again, we've gone vertical here in the kitchen, so instead of having a knife block, we have knives up on a strip, a magnetic strip on the wall. We also have the open shelves going up pretty high, but we have stools accessible so that we can grab what we need. Our kids are very much involved in the kitchen, just as they are with any other room of the house. We have a visual checklist for them here. We also have the busy board. We put everything that they need at their height.
Well, growing up, I remember this being the place where things would just come to get lost. So it goes back pretty far. So we asked our friend Jordan to build us these pull-out shelves, which work perfectly. It's now been 10 years at this point, and they work the same as they did on day one. No matter how big your home is, no matter your socio-economical situation is, we all suffer from the same thing. Where do you put your cooking pans? I had to build my own because nothing existed that would fit the space that we currently have. I just put some plywood together, and I used Home Depot paint stirring sticks. I just cut them to size, and I glued them in place, and I just measured enough space to fit maybe 1 or 2 cooking sheets.
Peterson built these nice deep drawers so we can reach the back of the cabinet, we can stay organized. He even just built these little dividers so that my tea canisters don't move around, and it gives a little bit more structure to the space. This is an IKEA children's bookshelf that we turned upside down, added a paper roll and some magnetic poster strips, and turned it into a DIY drawing wall. This is the primary bedroom, and this is actually the first room we did any renovations on.
The reason why we decided to work on this room first was because we wanted to have a sanctuary.
Yeah, a safe haven in the midst of all the construction, because we lived here when everything was under construction. The wooden slat wall is all DIY, and the floating shelves. My dad and I years ago created the jewelry box, and Peterson built a little floating shelf underneath, so it's like a vanity. The bed is the IKEA Tarva that we stained, and Peterson made a custom headboard for.
The floors, we had to remove the laminate, we sanded it, and then we decided to paint it white. But it has like a rustic kind of look and feel. We don't have a lot of floor space, so I came up with this design of just a simple box that would attach to the side of the bed. You can slide back and forth if you need to, and it has a little cubby inside to put your books, your lotions, and things like that. The PAX cabinets that we have in our bedroom are pretty deep, which gives us a lot of room to store things, especially on top where you see the white boxes. Yes, it looks very nice seeing the white boxes and the suitcases, but there's also an extra 13, 14 inches behind those boxes that I use to store on things that are just not as pretty as the boxes. Maybe the tent, the sleeping bags for camping. But yeah, you just find ways to store those things.
A couple of things we did in the bathroom to maximize the space and make it feel more open was, number one, get rid of the door. We installed a sliding barn door, which is a little weird sometimes for privacy. If we have people over, they don't realize, like, if the door is closed, it means it's locked. And instead of putting towel bars, we just put simple hooks that make it very easy to have a lot of towels without taking up a lot of space. In order to make the bathroom more accessible for our kids, we installed a small mirror behind the sink and a toilet paper cell phone holder that works really well for holding their toothbrushes and a rag to wipe faces. When we were first doing our renovations, and everything went from kind of dark and cluttered to bright and open and light and airy, we started talking about it and thinking of it like an oasis, right? That was our home. Our home was a place of peace.
In my case, a home to me basically grows with you. I've been here for 24 years now, and I've lived with my parents and my sisters, just the two of us, and our 3 kids. And I feel like that will still keep changing. In a few years, when you ask me again, home will mean something a little differently, but I'm sure that it would still mean that we are here in this apartment in New York City, in Washington Heights.